What is up, everybody? It is me, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin, and welcome back to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. Tonight, this morning, wherever you are in the world, I am joined by a very lovely guest. Her name is Goldy Locks. She is a singer, a musician, a wrestling personality, a podcaster. This lady does so much. It'd take me about a year to list everything that this woman does. She's absolutely amazing, and I'm really pumped to have her on tonight's show. But guys, before we get into my interview with Goldy Locks, I just want to take a quick second, a quick moment, a quick pause to thank some sponsors. And the first one is A-Rock Designs. Now, A-Rock Designs is that company you were seeing all over the wrestling Facebook pages, wrestling groups, Instagram pages, wherever it is. They make wrestling cups, hoodies, keychains, t-shirts. They made me my custom CM Punk tumbler, which I absolutely love because I'm a huge Punk mark. You know, Bin Hameen makes me call him something else, so I can't say that word in front of Goldie, and I'm not going to. But next our is Signal Studio. So guys, if you're an independent professional wrestler, you need to get yourself some fly, some cool, some dope ass entrance music, and Signal Studios can provide that. They are a recording studio here in Sydney, Australia. They can mix, master, produce any type of track that you want and send it out worldwide, baby. Or if you're a local musician, you need a place to rehearse, a place to jam, a place to get your creative juices flowing. You will not find a more comfortable studio setup than Signal Studio. So please go down and check that out. Wow, I finally got all that out, guys. I nearly stumbled my words there, but I got through it. But guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring her out, the lovely Miss Goldy Locks. Goldie, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Hey, what's going on? I'm looking up Signal Studios right now. Looks like a great place. That's really cool.
It is. It's my best friend opened a recording studio years ago. He was a qualified chef and just had a love for music, and then went and got himself learned how to become a producer and put himself through school again and opened up his own studio. So
wow,
it's a cool little place in Sydney. So
it
definitely
looked
worth
like it. I was just checking it out. So thanks for having me on the show today. And I guess you're on the brand. How long has it been that you've been on the brand?
It's probably been a few months.
Yeah.
I'd probably say less than 6 months that we started with Wrestling with Tragedy on the brand, and got to meet some amazing people from being a part of it, yourself included, and Big Vito, Bin Hameen, Stevie.
Vito, you got some heat with Vito right off the bat, I saw.
yeah. But Vito's a good dude, man.
No, I know. I tried to step in there and cool it down a little bit. I was when he was mad about the picture that you chose. I just was like, it's interesting to see what hits people's nerves and what touches them, and and it's nice to see how people respond if they piss somebody off or ruffle some feathers or upset somebody. I think when you take the high road and apologize or just say, I didn't see it that way. Or, I think that's always the best route, but he was very passionate about things. And it's funny, if I were to come in and make my comments about the person's picture, it's like, I would have a completely different story about that person. You know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. And it definitely wasn't intended that way.
Oh,
and
I know.
I wasn't the one that posted it, but
yeah.
it's kind of like what Wrestling with Tragedy is, covering that sort of stuff. So it's not for everybody, so, but anyway, we're here to talk about you, Goldie.
I love it.
And one of the things I was doing a bit of homework about you, and your shoot name. Now, my parents were hippies, so growing up, and I'm assuming your parents with the name which you have, did you grow up around that sort of environment?
Very folk music. My mom was 15 years older than my dad, so she wasn't, my dad was at Woodstock and, into all that stuff. And even though he's in law enforcement, that kind of shifted. Hi, Angie. That sort of shifted. I don't know when in his life, but he was a big Janician, Cat Stevens, Peter, Paul and Mary, just super folk music and musician, and probably not about maybe it was about the weed and the pot and all that stuff. I don't know what my dad did when he was younger, but definitely very long hair, motorcycle wearing, leather fringe gimmick. My dad just walked the walk, and he still kind of does. So it was a cool name to have, but I've changed it many times just because like kids were really mean to me and picked on me with a name like Moonshadow. And it's so sacred and beautiful to me now that my mom has passed that like I don't like a lot of people don't mess with it. You know, I think the wrestling world I'm pretty sure that's how Wikipedia started, was through wrestling. It was through wrestlers that started it. I'm pretty sure. Like when it originated.
Really?
Well, I mean, when it originated, it was only sports entertainment when I remember Wiki coming out. And then it grew into what it is now, of like an encyclopedia of everything and everyone. But like, I remember it only being about wrestling. Like that's what I remember.
Yeah, like when it first started. Yeah, Wiki Wrestling. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I could be completely wrong, but you know, that was fine that they knew my name and everything like that. People were pretty cool about it, but I don't like it when creepy people email me in and use that. It's like offensive to me. So
yeah, no, 100%. And I think it depends on the connotation, which it's sort of directed at as well, how it sort of someone is. But, you know, and through like music, obviously, you know, with your father being so passionate about music, you know, obviously sparked the interest from yourself. But
yeah,
how old were you when you first started going, you know what, I want to learn how to play an instrument. I want to learn how to.
2.5.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I ran away from home when I was 2.5 to go to the dancing school that I saw on the busy street, like 6 blocks away. I literally left the house to go there, and they found some like toddler and figured out who I was. And I mean, they didn't have social media back then or places to call, or I guess they just called the cops. And my parents had put out, and my dad, you know, being in law enforcement, put out an APB on me, and I was there because I wanted to dance and be where all the mirrors were and the sparkly lights and everything. Like it was always my choice. My mom was a huge stage mom, but but a great one, and one just supporting what her daughter wanted to do. Like that's always what I wanted to do, and always a business sense behind it, not just some pie in the sky. You know, I'm just gonna go out and hope for the best. Like I really was an entrepreneur. Yeah, at a really early age. Mm-hmm.
So you looked at obviously the entertainment business for what it is, an actual business and a way to make money and have a livelihood essentially.
Absolutely.
But,
yep.
You know, when was it that you decided to really like pursue it as a business? Like, was it
3.
still as a child? So 3 years old, you were just like, all right, this is like what I want to do for the rest of my life.
I got a taste of being on camera and doing commercials for toddler, I think it was Pampers, and you know, and then I remember like I knew like I got a check in the mail, and you know, like my mom was really ill, so all the money that I made went to like kind of supplement her healthcare and her well-being. And then the more money that I made, the longer my mom stayed alive. So it was like, you know, and I got to wear nice things and I lived in the hood, so I got nicer things than other people did, but I worked for my stuff. So it meant something to me. It wasn't just given to me. I went to really fine schools that I paid for myself. Music schools and private schools. And I grew up super quickly and had a really, really good family structure that just, you know, like you just didn't do drugs or smoke or drink, or you just didn't get into anything that would cause you any trouble. And, you know, my mom, she wasn't like square. I mean, she had me when she was like 45. So she was older, and she just always said like, it's a good idea to not have sex with somebody unless you're married. And then when I got older, it was unless you're committed, you know, like, and, you know, it was always like, you know, how bad it hurts when like you kiss a boy and he doesn't talk to you anymore, you know, back when ghosting didn't have a name. And I was like, yeah, Mom, I understand. She's like, well, it's even worse when you have sex with somebody, or you're intimate, or, you know, you could possibly have a child. There's huge responsibilities. Like she was so good about it. Like it was never like this shitty, creepy thing with her. It was like, my parents spoke to me always like I was an adult. They never did the baby talk with me. And I think it rubbed off on me that I like thought about things for myself and just decided like, I don't want to be like the rest of the people in my hood and the ghetto that are just jacked. And like every day they're trying to climb out of some, you know, addiction or depression or whatever. Like, what can I do to get out of here? I wanted to get out and moved, you know, out to Beverly Hills as soon as I could, in Los Angeles, Hollywood, to go pursue things. But like, I had really good parents, and I wish every kid could have like the parenting that I had. It was really solid. You know, I think it makes a huge difference, and you can't fault somebody or be mad if they don't have that structure. Like they're going to make different choices and decisions. All you can do is step in and like try to be a good example and love them with hard love and just say, I don't think this is a good idea for you. Or you might want to try something else, or this road looks like it's not going to work out for you, bro. There's ways to kindly help people, but I had it really good when it comes to parents.
And it just seems like, you just at a young age, you had your head really sort of screwed on your shoulders, right? And, you said about like, basically paying for everything that you've had, like the schooling, everything. And, the music schools, the private schooling, the tutelage, everything like that yourself. And at a young age to value what a money is at that age, you know what I mean? Because I think like a lot of people, even till like they get to like maybe late teens, early 20s, they don't really understand the value of money if it's just everything's handed to them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's till you've worked towards something, no matter what it is, and you've had to pay for like a large thing off or invest into yourself, you don't really understand the value of money until you've been able to do that. And to be able to do it at such a young age is quite commendable.
But then like I screwed up and blew it all, a bunch of it later, So, I mean, for as much as my head was screwed on tight back then you get out into the real world and you meet thieves and shysters and conniving people and you make bad decisions and you hang out with the wrong crowd and you lose it all. So, I mean, now I'm trying to keep my head on my shoulders and build it all back up again. I went bankrupt in 2005, 6, 7, 8 when I got fired from TNA. I lost my job. I lost all, it's like the person that got me fired from TNA, I don't think they realized that they would be the catalyst in like ending my life for a short period of time. But, you lose everything, you fall on your face, you hit rock bottom. And if you're smart, you learn something from it and not to do the stuff that I did that led up to that again, which was just stupid stuff, just running amok and being dumb and being on TV and thinking that money is just going to be pouring in forever, not investing, not saving, spending it on dumb crap that, where is that stuff now? Like you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad I spent my money on my mom growing up. That was good. That was a great investment. She hung in there for a long, long time, but I should have been doing other things than driving Mercedes and living in crazy penthouses in Hollywood. Like that was just a dumb decision. So for as smart as I was as a kid, I switched things up when I was, more of an adult. And like now that I'm growing up, I'm trying to do it better.
But I think as well, like, everyone, makes mistakes and does, silly things in life. And as you said, you learn from them. But do you think of that time where you were like driving the Mercedes and living in the penthouses? Do you think that was your way for like spoiling yourself? Like, because as you said, at a young age of like, basically paying for your mother's medical bills and everything like that. Do you think that was like your time of just saying like, you know what? This is my time to enjoy what I've got.
That's a really cool point. No one's ever brought that to my attention or to light before. So I appreciate that. And in theory and on paper, maybe, but like those days were so dark and bad, like it just was such a bad time for me. Like I wasn't enjoying myself at all. And which is a really good message for people listening, watching, that you can have all of the things that you're supposed. I mean, I was in Bel Air. I lived in Beverly Hills, Century City. I lived in the Century Towers on the Fox lot. Like that's those huge towers that look off. Like basically you look out your window and it's the Fox lot where they filmed X-Files there. They filmed any Fox show. That's where all the stars go. I mean, that's where I lived. I hung out with, everybody was in my building. Whoopi Goldberg was in my building. Michael Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Sean Connery was in my building. Gary Shandling was in my building. I mean, it was just like every Sting was in my building. Like everybody was there. And it should have been a happy, fun time for me, but it was like everything around it was so dark. And the guy that I was dating, it was just bad. And I wasn't in love with them, but I stayed because I was like entangled in all the money. And it was just like, I was suicidal like every other night. It was just depressing. And like literally 2 blocks away, funny enough, ironic enough, it was Sean Waltman and Joni China, like they lived 2 blocks from me. And like, a parallel, like she wasn't having a good time either. And you think of this big superstar and, he was always calling me to go bring him hamburgers at an indie show or something, it was just like, crazy times. Like I wasn't having a great time. I basically was in LA getting my nails done and being in an abusive relationship. It was like, ooh. So no, I would have been nice to be rewarding myself from all that stuff, but it was a shitty time. And wrestling for me personally was a really crappy time. It was the darkest period of my life. I was just involved in bad stuff personally that I shouldn't have been.
Did you like because obviously the world of pro wrestling, there's a lot of politics and a lot of, throat cutters and stuff like that. Is that what you sort of experienced in wrestling, which sort of turned you off it?
No, everybody was fantastic to me, at least to my face. A couple people talked crap behind my back. One just didn't like the camera time I was getting and just did everything he could to get me canned. And he did, I got no heat. It's like everybody knows Abyss was mad or whatever and lied and, said I was going to sue the company. It's like, it's freaking 20 years ago. Like, I don't, maybe he saved me or spared my life by not being there the next year. Maybe I would have taken a bad bump. Maybe I would have had a heart attack. Like people we know have things happen to them. Like you don't know. Like I'm not mad about it, but everybody there treated me really, really well. It was personally like who I was dating, like what I was doing. On camera, everything looks like it's so glorious. And I'm just worried about like the guy that I'm dating. Like, where is he? Who's he cheating on me with today? Like, you pathetic, dumb bitch. Like, you should have just like had one taste of something and let it go. Like, and the first experience I had with somebody, cheating on his wife was Brian Christopher, the very person that we were talking about earlier. Like, I remember him hitting on me the first day that I was at the municipal, trying to get me to, sleep with them and whatnot. And then like, I heard him going off on somebody like, bro, why'd you have to tell her that I was married? Cause somebody stepped up, another wrestler stepped up and said, Goldy, he's married, stay away from him. I didn't know. There's just all this like shenanigans going on. Not that I'm perfect or haven't made a shit ton of mistakes in my life or whatever, but I don't want to start out like, I've dated people that I've loved dearly and found out they were married later. And you're just like, like, why didn't you tell me? And they're like, well, I didn't know after. I'm like, okay, you're a piece of shit. Like you should have told me. And then you're like already hook, line, and sinkered. And then it's time for you to just split it and go. And that hurts. And then, you hurt somebody else. Like I've made so many mistakes, like more so than I care to even count. Again, all you can do, like we were talking about the financial, is learn from the things that have hit the fan, learn from it and don't duplicate it. Don't do it again. But everybody was really good to me in wrestling, and it is super cutthroat. But I had a blast. I wish I would have had a real blast and like personally not have just been, again, like years before wrestling. The reason I got into wrestling was I was trying to get out of like the music contract that I had and just the bad funk that was going on there. And like I said, every other day wanting to die, it was just bad and icky. And I wonder, like, was it that bad or did I not handle it that well? But no, it was really that bad. And you hear these girls like Kesha or, other girls coming out and saying like things were really bad. And like they were there, but there was no place to go vent your dirty laundry and you just didn't, or you'd affect all the other people working for that promotion or production. Like then it would die and you're the breadwinner, like you're the catalyst, you're the star. And if you go down, then where's that lighting guy go? Or where's the showrunner? They don't have a job. So, you kind of have to just take it up the butt, literally, and grin and bear it. It is what it is. But wrestling they were great to me. It was me personally sabotaging everything. I wish I could go back in time and fix it.
But, you said like, obviously you're in a toxic relationship. How long was that relationship last? Did that relationship last?
One from the next. That's what people do. It's not girls and it's not boys. It's everybody. When love looks a certain way to you, that's what you go seeking out until somebody steps in. Or I remember I was at Houston's in the Beverly Center Mall with a website design guy helping me design my website. I don't know this guy from jack shit. He just signed it, and he's just had like a meeting or two with me and my then manager / boyfriend. The guy looks at me and goes, well, Goldy, it's eventually the writing's on the wall. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I mean, you and so-and-so, the writing's on the wall. That's not going to last forever. And I remember just like literally feeling like this guy like verbally raped me. Like I was paralyzed. Like, how dare you comment on my life? And I'm like, a perfect freaking stranger can see what's going on, Goldy, you freaking idiot. Like, wake up, girl. And then I'm like, what's going to happen when I get away from this guy? Mentally, many problems with him. He was on like 17 different antidepressants that he self-medicated and switched up the dosages on his own. It was like Wellbutrin and Wellbutrin, Prozac, like literally 15 other antidepressants. Yeah, it was just awful. Like, and he was like, there's no way a human would know, like, well, I'm going to up this and decrease this. And I'm like, you might want to go to see a doctor. And he was out of his mind. He was mentally ill. I'm pretty sure he was bipolar and not being treated for that. Possible split personality, a narcissist, like just things you don't want to dance with. It's dancing with the devil. And I just remember like, what's it going to take? And I remember him saying, you don't love me anymore. You think of me as a brother. And I was on like the old rotary phone, like the pretty gold one in Beverly Hills. And I remember just thinking, no, I really do love you. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen when I pull the plug on this? I'm going to lose it. Sure enough, lose everything. And I just remember like something taking over my body going, you're right. I don't love you anymore. And he's like, then move out and, get your shit and go, and you're cut off and, whatever. And he didn't cut me off like right away, but I did find a cheaper place. And like, but it was like, you felt like you were like having a heart attack when you finally, you yourself speak words of, you know what? I'm dragging you through the mud. I'm just in this for money. But like, I didn't know as a young kid what was going to happen when our bank accounts are connected and are this and are that. Like, and what happened? What you would think happened. I lost everything. And then I got fired from TNA. Then I lost my publishing deal and all of the stuff that I had going on. And I went from like $450 a year, $500,000 to nothing, with nothing saved. Nothing.
And you're used to living a certain lifestyle as well, and having X money going out.
And I got to tell you, what did I have? $4,000 a week was my budget for the Beverly Center to buy some new clothes. So $16,000 a month. It was $4,000 to $5,000 a week on food. So that's another $16,000 to $20,000 a month on wherever I wanted to go eat with my friends. I was the party girl, the Paris Hilton of that time. Was
there like a lot of people that just sort of latching on to you at the time?
Not too much. They were good friends who appreciated it. Everybody appreciated it. They paid their dues with friendships to me. So not a lot of people latching on, good people that deserved a good $200 meal a day. And then all of a sudden it was all gone. And I got to tell you, like that lifestyle, driving the Range Rovers and the Mercedes and all the $100,000 cars, like, and when I left there, it was bad. And I called my dad and said, Dad, will you fly out here? Can we get a U-Haul? And will you just get me out of Dodge? And I picked him up, and so surreal to just wait until somebody abusive is gone at work and just pack up the shit you can fit in one U-Haul and blow out of there like a bat out of hell. And I left coats and furniture, and who gives a shit?
Just material things that don't matter.
It doesn't make you happy. And I remember like driving the entire way from Los Angeles to Nashville, where I am now, in my Benz at that time before they repoed it, with my dad in the rearview mirror driving a U-Haul, and just thinking like, I'm free. And there's no price that you can put on freedom. There is just, so everybody in the world with all this pandam fucking shit better just watch their commie backs. That's all I got to say, because you have no idea what it's like to not be free. So everybody better just be super careful with who they vote for and what they say, because I don't want to live in, I like being a capitalist. I've had both extremes. I like being able to choose what I do for work. I like being able to make my own money, and I don't want anybody taking that away from me. And it's freaking scaring me what's going on. It's freaking me out. That's all I got to say. Like, there's just too much funky stuff going on. And when you've lived the type of life that I've lived and seen and been everywhere in the world, it's like, we're hitting pretty close to some funky stuff. So before you go wishing that everything was taken care of by the government, you might want to check that out. That's my soapbox speech of the day.
Absolutely. But, one of the things I wanted to ask is, because a lot of times when people have experienced toxic relationships, it can sometimes affect what relationships are in the future. Like, did it take you a while to really be able to trust another person after that, like on that emotional level? Because when you're in a relationship with someone, and especially if it's been an abusive relationship, whether it be physical or mental, the next person you're always going to be weary of people in the future.
Did
you struggle with that?
Yeah, you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. You can still give somebody a chance and proceed with caution. I always tell people, like, if you see a red flag in a future partner, that flag ain't going to turn any other color but red. It's not going to be pink or white, or it's a red flag. And it's your responsibility that when you see somebody where you're like, I don't like the way this makes me feel. This is an emotional hangover for me. This doesn't feel, if somebody doesn't freaking make you feel like a fuck yeah, then it's time to go. Like, really, if you're making excuses for somebody out of the gate or no, then chalk it up, put your big girl and boy pants on and get out of it. It's like, for me, I was like, I better stay, I better fix it, better not leave this one. And, now in the future, when I see somebody, I'm kind of like a bad Seinfeld episode where I'm like, oh, I don't like his earlobe, I better stop this one and dead in its tracks. Or like, oh, I don't like his hands, or I don't like he does this. Or, now it's like, I really look for, what bad habits does this person have? Like, are they an alcoholic, or do they use drugs? Are they always high? Are they always smoking weed? Do they gamble a lot? Are they constantly watching porn? Like, we all watch a few Pornhubs here and there, I'm not dissing it, but if it becomes your daily job and you're watching it all day and it's like, you're not getting your work done, or again, I've got some friends that recreationally use, or it's, some podcasts that I do, like, I won't name any names, like somebody's like lighting up or whatever like that. Like, as long as it doesn't like affect your livelihood or your work or whatever, then I'm not one to judge. But for me, again, I'm a pretty like straight-laced, clean-cut chick without a lot of habits other than working hard and probably a workaholic. And when I come across somebody, I have to ask myself, like, okay, they like to light up all the time, or they smoke. You don't like that. So are you going to look past it and then look past it, or are you going to pretend to look past it, kind of give them a chance, not wholeheartedly, and then ruin their life? You have to be, I think honesty with yourself is key. And a lot of people just want to kind of roll over and not be completely honest about that new job or that new partner or what this is going to really look like. And you've got to do a little bit of that and get in your own face. It's your own personal responsibility.
100%. And like, me and my wife, we've been together for nearly 8 years. And like, when we first, like our second date, I had like a short sleeve shirt on, and the first day I had long sleeve, and she saw I had tattoos, and she's like, oh, you've got tattoos? And I said, yep. And she's like, oh, I don't like tattoos. I said, well, I'm going to get tattooed for the rest of my life. There's nothing that's going to stop that. So if that's a problem for you, see ya. And she was like, nope. And the whole time that we've been together, married, anytime I've gone to get a tattoo, she has had never complained anything about it, because I was straight up with it from the get-go. I was like, this is in once a year, I'm going to go get tattooed for a couple of hours.
Well, and you know what? And if that, again, honey, if that's your deal, like if it's once a year, now, if it was every Friday night, you were going to take like the mortgage money and go spend, $200 or $300 adding to your sleeve edition, that's a different story. But if somebody's like, this is my one thing that I, unless it's like, what, honey, every year I'm going to go to the horror joint and go to the glory hole and get my schwanker, puckered up. No, but I mean, a freaking tattoo, like, I would have to remind your wife, like, there are worse things than that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's even bad at all. I'm saying, like, he could be like going to get crack once a year, or going to going to Vegas and like, loading up on hookers, or I tell my friends some of this, like, I hear what they say about their husbands, and I'm like, are you freaking out of your mind? Like, that's all he's doing? Like, God, girl, wake up.
We had a friend of ours, and like the couple were over, and the woman, the female was talking to my wife. She's like, oh yeah, I've got a tracker on such and such's phone. She's like, my wife's like, really? And she's like, and she's like, but how do you track Pierce's phone? And my wife's like, I don't. She's like, but how do you know he's not lying to you? She's like, he's married to me with children. Like, what the fuck's he gonna, if he wants to go and try and end his family over some stupid, he's not that dumb to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to have that trust factor. You know what I mean? And my wife's like,
God, I would die. I literally would die. Bitch, please get a hold of yourself. If you're listening to this, like, there's no way in hell. Like, if you need to go look at somebody else's phone, it's over. Like, that ain't. I wouldn't even think of guys that I date. I wouldn't even think of that. If they make me, the guy that I dated, I remember saying to him, like, I really appreciate you making me feel so, like, I don't even think about it. Like, they're like, well, I'm with you. Like, if you're not with that, then you got to question that stuff. Like, again, we go back to personal responsibility when it first starts out.
But you also feel like a level of, I think, confidence in your relationship. Like when me and my wife first started dating, I had female friends, she had male friends. And even now, like her male friends have become my friends and my female friends have become her friends. And I had my male friends going, what, you're okay with her being friends with a guy? And I'm like, yeah, they were friends 10 years before we met. They've never hooked up, but now she's married and had kids with me. There's like, you just don't have that mindset. It's like, I think you get to a level of maturity at a certain age, whereas like, but some dudes still don't have that thing where it's like,
and you know in your gut if your wife is with somebody that's funky. You can just tell. You can just tell like how they're acting or responding, and then that's up to you to say, this isn't making me feel comfortable, babe. And how is she going to react? Is she like, oh shit, like, well, what can we do? Or is she defensive? Well, if she's going to be defensive, then there's some funk going on then. But funk is going to go on whether you want it to or not, or whether they're out of town or they're in town, or whether they're across the 100%. Pond or they're at work or whatever, at the grocery store. You can go get a blowjob behind the Piggly Wiggly. Like, it's not, you can't live in fear. And that's what our whole world is in right now. Everybody's in fear and it's freaking me out. It's disgusting. Everybody's caving. They're all caving.
But that's the thing. I think people just don't understand there's a lot of freaks out there that just want to go and like have these dark underbelly secrets. But after a while, like if you're in a relationship, that shit comes to light eventually. It's like,
I don't want any underbelly secrets. That's what I was saying. That stuff's exhausting. My whole relationship that I had for a period of time was all like, quiet and ick. I don't want that.
Yeah, look, after being met with my wife for as long as I have, open and honesty has always been the best policy, and even when it's something she might not want to hear, it, nothing that I've ever stepped out on my wife or anything, but like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I spent this amount of money on buying stuff, whatever. It's like, might not be what she wants to hear, but if I lie to her, it's going to be 10 times worse,
Absolutely.
And that's abusing that trust. So
absolutely.
But, I wanted to ask you about how you got involved in TNA because, like, from what I've understood, they saw your performance at a concert and
no,
wasn't it?
No, it's got to be written somewhere. I think it's written on Wiki. No, nobody saw shit. My lawyer was the same lawyer as the Jarretts. She said there's a new promotion. You should get in there and cross promote. You could be a singer. You could be a backstage interviewer, a host of some sort. And I was in a bad, terrible, toxic relationship in Beverly Hills and wanted out. So I looked at coming to Nashville as this is going to be like a transition for me to get the hell away from a bad thing. And I courted, I sought out, I got on a plane, got a cab, went to the Jarrett's office in Hendersonville, Tennessee many times before they finally said, we'll give you a shot. And ironically, I live 10 minutes from Hendersonville, Tennessee now in a hospital, in old, well, I won't say where I live, but, it's so interesting how things just turn around, but no, nobody saw me. I beat the door down. It's a business. I just kept saying I'm the right person for the job. And I'm so glad and grateful that Jeff and Jerry gave me that opportunity. Very, very, very grateful.
What was one of the most surprising things, like entering into the pro wrestling business? Like, obviously you'd been in the entertainment business for years. Was there much difference you found, like, from the entertainment to the wrestling business?
Yeah, everything that I did was paid a lot of money, so it was micromanaged and produced to the hills. Like, I mean, I was a 8-year-old kid getting a check for $300,000. What I had to do for that was micromanaged. You had people coming in there and telling you to breathe this way and to hold chicken this way, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Dairy Queen, or Pepsi, or Coke. It's like, you did this, you did that. You held the little piece of chocolate in the wrapper just so, wrestling, you get in there and they just throw you to the wolves. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no direction. Nobody helped me. They were too busy. It was the wild, wild west back in the TNA days. Nobody knew what was going on. They just said, go out there, which actually worked to my advantage. I got a chance to play neurotic characters and rich people and schizophrenic bitches and do all this crazy stuff. And so, on one hand, no direction. And on the other hand, you run with it. I was constantly going to management, to the office, to Vince, to Jeff, to Jerry, saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? And every single time, 100% of the time, they just green lighted it. Ready, go, whatever you want to do. Nobody ever said, don't do that, or I don't like that idea. Not once did they ever veto an idea. Every single idea, they ran with it and they milked it for all it was worth. It was great.
Did you ever find it, like, obviously coming in, being an outsider from the wrestling business, that those people that are a bit weary, or was it all welcoming? Obviously,
nah, everybody was super cool. Everybody was super cool to me. Again, they weren't weary because they were worried about their own garden. They were tending to their own shit.
Yeah,
like everybody was just so wrapped up in them, and that's why I didn't get a lot of help from people, because they're just want to keep their job. A lot of these guys are driving all night to get there, and they're making $50 or nothing. They just want to, they're doing a dark match. They just want their spot on TV. It's not like there's a bunch of, places to go in wrestling. Now there's more than ever. There's TNA, there's Impact, there's, AWA. What is it? AEW? I say AEW. AEW all the time. AEW. There's, what's the other one?
Ring of Honor.
Yep. There's
New Japan. It's everywhere.
There's lots of different things that you could go and do. There's different ways to promote yourself. There wasn't back then, back then you could record an album and you couldn't put it out and stream it like you can now, but you could get a record deal a lot easier than you could get a spot in wrestling in a promotion.
Did you ever want to get in there and start having matches and competing every week?
Yeah, I mean, I did, and I started to train, and everybody I trained with died. Like Malice was helping me for a while with church and all that, and then he died.
Oh.
And then, Kurt Hennig was showing me some things, and then he passed. It was just like, so I look at that as like, it wasn't, that wasn't for you. I mean, I started to and was interested. Yeah. And now I think I probably would be dead. These guys are all broken bones, and they're in so much pain. And I mean, you don't talk about stuff like that. They've got concussions. They're messed up. I had a guest that was supposed to be on my podcast the other day, and just stood me up. And then I was pissed because I got all ready to, like, if I was trying to find your link, because you contacted me on different platforms, and I was like, shit, like I have it on my calendar, and then it's like, it says this, and then I'm like, crap, it's on. I went to the band email. I have 50 emails. So, I was 1 minute late for you, but
that's okay.
I was so excited, and how how much time it takes to get ready, and you just hope people show up and don't bag out on you, because it's hard to find guests that are not flaky. And I was so mad at him. And then I just thought his initial thing was, this is how much I charge for podcasts, Goldy. But I'm not going to charge you, but this is why. And he said, I've just been hit so many times. I forget things. And people ask me questions and I don't remember, and I look stupid. Well, then stupid me, because he just told you who he was. He just showed you, to quote Dr. Maya Angelou, when somebody shows you the first time who they are, believe them. Well, he just said, I forget stuff all the time. Sure, he forgot. And then he's probably embarrassed to let me know, I can't have heat with somebody when they told me right out of the gate that I have to charge a lot of money for interviews because I forget stuff. And I look like an idiot. So at least I'm getting paid when I look like an idiot. He told me he has a problem remembering things. So why should I be so surprised that he stood me up? Why did I even make that point? Wrestling. Yeah.
I think, but you know what? I think it's sometimes, in doing podcasts, when you are trying to get guests on and you do have that feeling of being stood up, it's like, sometimes you don't actually stop to think of the reason why, the amount of punishment that these guys have had, the bumps and the hits to the head, it's pretty major. And, you mentioned that, guys that were training you, Mace and Mr. Perfect, because that was around a time where a lot of guys were passing away in their mid to late 30s and early 40s, and it was I can remember it was just literally every couple of months. It was so unfortunate.
And I'm going to tell you what's even more unfortunate is that nobody fucking ever says anything about it. I did. I just said, you're drinking, you're taking pills, and you're doing cocaine. Probably not a good idea for your heart. And nobody wanted me around because I'm always the voice of reason. I'm just like, you guys party too hard. And I get it. You're hood rats in the ghetto where you're like, oh, I'm not going to live to be 28. Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck you, because a lot of people love you and want you, like your families, to live for that long. And I still harbor anger when I see, but I don't harbor anger at myself because I at least said something to him, where everybody else is like letting it fly. It's not.
And that's the thing, like Angel, we discussed this on Wrestling with Tragedy in certain aspects. And one of the things we were talking about was Kerry Von Erich, how he confided in Bret Hart, said that this is how I'm going to go out. And it was literally Bret Hart said, this is what I think. I was like, and no one would get, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one thought, hey, how do we help this guy?
Yeah.
And Angel was going, hey, man, in the business, you just sit there and you just put your head down. And it's like, and Angel said, he's like, man, I've seen guys do some weird shit. He goes, but if I turn around and say, hey, man, you shouldn't do that. Hey, who the fuck are you, bro? I'm this level of star and you're a fucking nobody. Get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, and you lose your job from that shit.
No, you can't lose your job from, there's a way to say it, but like I have a column in the Los Angeles Tribune. It's called Goldy's Corner, and they've given me a pretty good platform to just speak my mind. And there's some things that I won't say, just because I would just tear it up. But but there's some things that I do say, and I pick my spots, pick my times. I've got an article coming out in the column just on Rush Limbaugh, who died. And, Rush Limbaugh, love him or hate him, he was feared, and he started conversations and got people talking about politics. We need that more. Whether, again, you don't have to like somebody to get in a conversation and a good discussion of why do you feel this way, and why are your politics this way, and why are your beliefs that way. The more you can understand your neighbor, the better we're going to get along, and the better things are going to be. But like, I remember an article with him just saying like secondhand smoke doesn't do anything, and cigar smoke doesn't do anything, and this and this and this. And he just went on, and it's like this whole pro smoking article. Well, it's like, you died of lung cancer. So don't go out there and use your platform to say, if you want to say, I smoke, I choose to smoke, this is my choice. Is it the best thing? Probably not. But don't go out there and say to people that follow you, like, this is okay. Like, don't ever say that. Yes, he did, Michael. He did open up a lot of eyes for a lot of years. So Rush Limbaugh, heaven, wherever you are, bro, you got heat with me because you told a lot of people that it was cool to smoke. Don't say shit, just say, I swear, I curse. It's not a good idea. I don't go out and say swearing is great.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that article, I'm including it in my article of like, don't just camp out. I'm so tired of everybody like waiting again with just what you just said. You wait until the wrestler or the entertainer or the singer or the whatever is dead. And then it's like, oh, here come the memes and here come all the rest in peace, bro. And like, what were you doing when they were living an unhealthy lifestyle? Like, you don't need to be popular every day of your life. Like, get out and say something to somebody. You don't have to lose your job over it. You can just be next to him in the urinal or sitting to him next here or there at lunch or whatever, and just say, I care about you. And it hurts me to see you doing this. And this is why, maybe you should.
That's 100% right. And I think, like it's, for people just to sit there and only buy and watch someone go, it's like, you might as well sit there and just pull that trigger yourself at them, like it's
absolutely.
And good friends and good people will be the ones who'll tell you not what you want to hear all the time, but what you need to hear at that time, and
there's a nice way to do it. There's a nice way to do it. You don't want to just make somebody feel like, they're a piece of crap or something like that. There's a nice way to do it.
Oh, 100%, but, sometimes some people need a little bit of the tough love. And, I think that, when the nice way hasn't worked, the tough love does have to come in. And, there's people that I've known that have needed to have that tough love saying, hey, you need to like either get yourself sorted or like, I have to like step away from you. And that's like being able to sort of know when to say that. That's a fine line as well, especially when you're talking to someone who isn't in that right headspace to begin with.
And I wish the CM Punks, I wish the Christopher Daniels, I'm trying to think of who else was in that. AJ was pretty good about it. There was just a whole troop of guys that would show their face, go out afterwards, do their thing, have a few drinks, and then they headed back to the hotel, to the gym. Like, I wish they would have invited some of those guys that were just all night long coking it out and, doing what they did. I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. I just like I did see some good guys leading a really good example. I interviewed Crowbar on my podcast a month ago or so, and he's like, I was married, I went back to my room, and I mean, I believe the guy. He's like, I played video games, I like Star Wars, I like this, and it's like it's possible that you can still be a good, kind, cool dude and not just be completely, engaged in debauchery.
Oh, 100%. And I think, but that's the lifestyle as well, though. When you're getting paid a lot of money, you either are going to stay committed to the family lifestyle and go back and have a couple of drinks and go back to your room, or you're going to just splurge and go crazy. And sometimes that comes with age and immaturity, or it just comes with not used to having that much money. And also having the accessibility. Like I can just imagine, being a celebrity, people going, "Hey, Goldy, you want some of this powder I got right here? Yeah, here you go. This is for free. Try this." But what I'm saying is, like, I'm sure it's like there's always people passing it around, right?
No, there is, and they always get a big "fuck you." Like why? Why don't you go dig in a cat box and take some cat shit and roll it up in a hair paper and smoke that? It's just like to me. When I see this stuff, it is just so like absurd. Like you're going to go do something that's habit forming, that costs your money, that's going to kill you. Like what? And same thing with with cigarettes. And if you smoke, I'm coming down on you. Like it says on the fucking box, that's probably going to cause cancer. Like what? It's like, oh, you know what? There's this great new habit. You stick your dick in this box of razor blades, and it's like, it could cut your skin right off on your tip so that you can't piss or screw ever. But it's really cool. Well, I'm going to sign right up for that. That sounds like a great idea. What the like? Seriously? Like that's what drugs and like all this stuff sounds like to me.
And that's the thing, like cigarettes and stuff like that. You could literally sell them and call them poisons, and people will still buy them and smoke them. Like, I tell
everybody, I just look at them. I'm like, what? I love you. If you're my friend and we're hanging out, you had a person just comment about hanging out with some of the guys that have that guy. I ran with guys in WCW. I know, dude, Michael, they're like, and this is exactly what I was just saying. And I say this to people. I say this on Twitter. I say it on Instagram. I'm like, if you are smoking and you want to quit smoking, find me. And you know what? Plugging the Patreon. Go join up for $3 a month on Patreon. It is the most motivating, inspiring stuff. Patreon.com/Goldy with a Y locks. We try to just like in a nice way, keep everybody going, keep them positive. It's not, here's my twat, like a lot of the girls, their stuff. I'm just great. Good for you. Do your thing. Yeah. There's some sexy stuff on there. It's fun. It's some lingerie, some swimsuit. It's all like PG-13 or something I'd show my dad. If I can't show my dad what's on my Patreon, then I'm not doing it. And my dad's pretty cool, hip cat, as we discussed. So I tell people, like, if you are smoking, reach out to me. Like I will literally sponsor you. And what does that mean? It means that I'll send you private messages and encouraging you or motivating you. Like I am not going to sit back and if you're friends with me or you're a supporter, you come to shows or whatever, then we've got like a kindred spirit gimmick going on. And I love you as a human being. I don't want to watch somebody like Michael just showed up saying about his friends with WCW. I don't want to watch my friends dying. 100%. I'm going to say something to you. Like, what are you doing? Quit.
I quit smoking a year ago.
Do you feel better?
I have this thing, and this is now something that I need to quit. And that's I feel a lot better giving up the cigarettes, but even like the vape. And as I told you earlier about the health scare I had earlier this week, the first thing, like when I messaged Angel telling him what happened, he's like, "Bro, you need to give that vaping shit the fuck up." Like,
no, you do. And you know what? A fun thing to exchange it with is how many times have you seen me with my gimmick and you've got yours? It's like, find some sort of flavored vitamin shit that you like the flavor of that is good for you to drink, or just water with infused lemon or strawberries in it or cucumber, whatever you need to do, like whatever you need to fixate your lips on. Find something like water that's going to help you hydrate. It's going to make your skin look better. It's going to make your dick work better. It's going to flush you out. You're going to lose weight. Like, just switch it out with something that's good for you. Like, and I tell people that, like, if you smoke all the time, then go get some bag of little carrots or something like that. It sounds dumb as shit, but like do something that, and it's like within a day, 3 days, because I just did the article about Rush Limbaugh, a week.
Check out
thank you, Michael.
Michael with the plug for the Russo brand. What a
this
gentleman.
guy, I like this guy. Please, Michael, find me on social, on Twitter, and if I'm not already following you, I want to make sure I'm following you. I really appreciate that. Maybe I am. I'm spacey this morning, but replace it with something that's going to help you out, because we want people that are full of life to be just that, full of life.
Oh, 100%, you know, and that other thing definitely works. I got 2 kids and another kid on the way, so I got nothing to worry about there.
I don't do the razor blade dick in a box gimmick. That doesn't sound, I mean, that's how stupid that sounds like. It sounds like people are playing Russian roulette with their health. Like, if you saw what I eat all day, and I'm freaking psycho, because I don't want to get cancer. I'm not paranoid about it, but like I've just seen enough stuff where people are suffering and they're hurting. And I'm like, what can I do preventative? What that's my whole brand, is just preventative. Like, what can you do to get ahead and live a good life?
Oh, you know.
Oh, I got you, Michael. Dear Pastor Payne. Perfect. Now I know who you are. My bad. Thank you, brother.
But that's the thing, is like having that healthy lifestyle. It really takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Like for me, like I get so busy in my shoot job, like it's to spend time doing like I'll have days where I'll be like at work the whole day. I'm like, holy shit, I have literally only had a coffee to have all day, like nothing to eat. I'm like, shit. And I'm like, that's what, you know what I mean? Like that's where it's like having to actually stop and be able to like, okay, take care of yourself. And that's the main thing, I think.
How old are you?
I've got a 4-year-old who's about to be 5 and a 2-year-old that's about to be 3.
I would really recommend like finding out what the 5-year-old to be likes, and spending a little bit of him or her. Is it a girl or boy?
I've got the older one's a boy and the younger one's a girl.
I would find out what the older boy likes and spend a little bit of time like on the weekend or whenever your shoot job is not on, and like do some meal prep with him and show him how to do, especially if you train and you lift and all that, like what to have. It's chicken breasts and broccoli and brown rice and whatever. If you're tofu, if you're a vegan, you don't look like a vegan. And I would spend some time like meal, as goofy as that sounds, like that's a great bonding experience, and it's something like you can show him how to cut things up or how to portion or ration, and then go out and get yourself, the 20 gimmicks at Walmart of the little food dividers and whatnot. And like you can do that and have that at work and make time for that. Like that's, I just tell everybody that like meal prepping is my saving grace, because it saves me a shit ton of money, and it helps me like stay jacked and ripped and good. And it saves me money. Like I'm all about saving that money, bro.
Oh, dude, 100%. And like, that's the thing, is like I have done the meal prep and I need to get back into it, because it's like, if you haven't got it prepared, it's just so easy to go, oh yeah, we'll get a pizza for dinner, or okay, like, and especially being a parent, it's like, okay, kids are finally in bed, all right, like let's just eat. So
let's screw. I know, right?
Hey man, there's a no screw zone in my house, man. My wife is 7 months pregnant, so we're about to have number 3. So if I go near her, she's gonna like get the razor blades out. So
yeah, well, don't do that, but there are other things you can do. So
that's what I've been trying to say. But guys, it is that time of the show that we are going to do Guess the Aussie Slang. I have briefed Goldy about this. We're going to do some Aussie slang words. I'm going to put them in say them and then put them in a sentence. And Goldy, you're going to guess what they mean.
Let's do it.
All right. So first one is Buckley's chance.
Okay.
You've got Buckley's chance of that happening, Goldy.
Nothing. Second to none. It's not happening.
Yeah,
who was Buckley? Buckley had a bad run, I guess.
It definitely did. Hey, Goldy, do you mind swinging past the bottle-o and picking up a slab for me?
What is it?
Bottle-o.
Well, the liquor store.
Yep, and a slab.
Well, slab here is meat, but I doubt I'm going to be picking up some meat, so I guess that's like a pint?
No, a slab's like a carton of beer.
A what?
A carton of beer, like a box of beer.
Oh, that's what
like
I meant.
A case.
I meant like, okay, so a slab does mean like an entire box of beer.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
it means
got
like
you.
a whole 24 pack.
Okay,
All
now
right.
I know. A slab is a 24, not a 12, or could they be interchangeable?
We only have 24 packs. We don't do
Of
12s.
course you do, you drunks. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Oh no, I think she's feeling a little bit clocky.
Well, I mean, bad or crappy or shitty, but like clocky.
Clucky.
Clucky? Like a duck?
Clucky. Yeah, like cluck.
Under the weather?
No, feeling maternal. So like if like someone arrives with a baby, like women go, "Oh my god, the baby!" Like they get all clucky and maternal.
Okay, so
Yeah, like
I thought you were saying clocky, like
no,
CLO, and then I was gonna say like they felt like as a woman, like it's time to like have a kid, like they're feeling the pressure. So I almost got it by default, but no. Okay.
all right. So we got another one. Dead set. Are you dead set, bro?
Well, dead set me. I mean, is it what it means here?
What does it
No.
mean there?
You're dead set means like you're 100% sure of something. So
Yeah, like dead set.
yeah, we have that here.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
All right.
All right. Budgie smuggler.
Budgies.
So yeah, me dad's outside and he's wearing his budgie smuggler again.
A budgie smuggler. Like a big coat to hide things in? I don't know.
No, a speedo.
Okay, so budgie.
A budgie's like a budgerigar, like a bird. So when like a guy gets out of the water wearing a speedo, it looks like a budgie.
No, we do not have budgie smugglers here. Now I know budgie, like budgie,
Yeah.
a budgie smuggler. People drink a lot of beer and wear speedos in Australia? Then
All right. So, hey Goldie, do you want to come over to my joint and get on the piss?
You're gonna drink beer?
Yeah, get on the drink.
Yes.
All right. So we'll go a couple more. Hey, do you want a sanger?
A what?
A sanger. Would you like a sausage sanger?
Sex?
No, a sausage sanger is like a sausage sandwich. It's basically like one sausage on a piece of bread with tomato sauce. That's it. It's like an Australian delicacy.
It sounds horrible. I'd pick the sex for 200, Bob.
All right, so we'll go a couple more. All right. What is smoko? Hey, is it time for smoko?
You're gonna go smoke.
Smoko is like a tea break. So if you work on like a construction site, you have like a break. All right, so we'll go. We got a couple more. Hey, do you want a tinny?
You want a titty?
Tinny.
Oh, I'm not really into that. Tinny, Tinny.
Yeah, tinny.
I probably would take a titty instead. I don't know what it is.
A tinny is like a can of beer. All right.
God, dude, everything in your whole world revolves around being big.
Pretty much.
Jesus.
All right. Here's another one. Oh, you know me mate over there. He's from Whoop Whoop.
Your mate over there is from where?
Whoop Whoop.
Whoop Whoop?
Yep, Whoop Whoop.
He broke out of prison. I have no clue.
No, it means he's from the middle of nowhere. Okay, last one. My uncle Barry is true blue, mate.
He's the real thing.
It means he's genuinely Australian. Like if I say someone's true blue, that's like they are the most Aussie person you can ever imagine.
Okay, so true blue for you means it's indicative to your region. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like we say true blue, like because it's like blue in the Australian flag, or we call them like a true blue bogan, like someone who's like really ochre. So
what's ochre?
Ochre, like someone who's like a real bogan, like a bogan would talk like, "Hey, going there, darling? You look pretty there. You want to go down to the pub and we'll have a schnitzel and maybe put a couple of bets on the dish lickers."
Okay, so somebody that's just constantly only using slang that I wouldn't be able to understand.
Like a bogan is like an American redneck.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
Goldie,
great.
That's the Aussie slang game. Goldy, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, please make sure you go and check out Goldy's Closet. Goldy, where can everyone find you, and where can everyone support you and get some of your merch?
And thanks to Michael for tuning in, and the other there. What was her name? It was a girl's name that was on there.
Anjay.
There she is, Anjay.
Batsy.
Oh, look how beautiful she is. Wow. I don't go that way, girl, but I can appreciate. Just Goldy Locks Rocks on Twitter, Goldy with a Y, and Goldy Locks Rocks on Instagram is the best place. And like I said, we've got a really awesome Patreon that I'm excited about. It's been inspired by Vince Russo. He's the one that got me hooked up with that, and Bin Hameen, the Hameen Media Group. Got to do a shout out to them, and just thank you to everybody in the wrestling and sports entertainment community that's been so good to me. I really appreciate you all, and thanks for taking time when it's so late for you. And I'm sure your wife's like, "Where's my husband? Come to bed." So go hang out.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure you head over and check out the Russo brand for the Goldy's Closet, Wrestling with Tragedy, and a heap of other awesome content creators, guys. But till next time, Goldy, thank you so much for being a guest. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I feel like I could sit and talk for another couple of hours with you, to be honest.
Thank you so much for finding me. I really appreciate it. And thank you to you also when we had a live stream for the Los Angeles Tribune, which we're going to do on Saturday again, for some of the things, you showing up and showing support. Like, that's such a huge pop for me to see, like just anybody giving a rip at all. I really appreciate that. And I remember it. Thank you.
Of course, we got to support each other in this world, man. That's what it's in for. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll definitely try and get Goldy back for a part 2 very soon. Till next time, guys. Catch you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.